Now, we are talking about this, right? If I asked you, why don't you speed? Assuming you don't speed. Yeah, he's got 1 point left. I've got 3 points off. Often it will be because we are scared of the punishments. You should know that's the lowest level of moral reasoning there is, and I'm firmly there. As you go through moral reasoning, you will see there are different levels, and this is what the kids will go through, and this is what we're aiming to do with them, obviously. We want to move them from rewards and punishments, but that's where we're going to start, not because we think the rewards and punishments are going to actually change their behaviour, but they're going to signify a need to change behaviour. There's a very big assumption here. Unlike when I was at school and the punishments could stop you, because they hurt you physically. They really hurt. Anyone who's been strapped will know it hurts unless you move your hand down at the last second. And then what they did at Northcote High was put you over a desk and hit you with a T-square on your backside, and you cannot move because you're stuck. And a T-square is a big piece of wood with it. So when I got that, I stopped. But so when I start talking about punishments, I'm going to talk about punishments in the same word as punishment, but it doesn't really mean that, because the reason punishments work on Bs and some Cs is not because the punishment's so scary and worrisome. It's not. It's a sign that you're disappointed with these people's behaviour, and what they value is their relationship with you, and so they will get their act together to maintain their relationship. So even though we use the word punishment, they're just little signals, unless you can come up with some really, really good ones. And I don't think you can. That would, you know, by virtue of a person with no relationship, if they were to use this, I would do what they say because I'm so scared by it. Same with rewards. You don't give great rewards unless, again, you've got a good relationship, because then it's a symbolic interaction between you and me. You like me. So then it will work. So even though I'm going to use the word rewards and punishments through this, I don't think they even have the same latency or potency that they had 30 years ago, 40 years ago. It's the same word, but I don't think it's the same thing. But we'll come to it. So we start with fear of punishments, move to desire of rewards, then to social approval. Now this is what you would have got when you interviewed those kids. And what I get when I interview kids. You know, you'll get into trouble. Why do you do the right thing? You'll get into trouble. You'll get points. The kids will like you. And eventually you get the point where you do the right thing because it's the right thing, and you understand that. You understand people have rights, and that's what makes it the right thing. Because if you believe that, if you believe people have rights, then to respect those rights is the right thing. It's the fair thing. It's the logical thing. It's reasonable. It's, you know. Now, then you go on and you try and move them beyond that to see if they're prepared to do other things, like encourage others to do the right thing, and eventually get to a genuine communal responsibility. So this is where people are playing. So much so that I can show you in a minute. I think I've got it here along the board. Yeah, I'll show you. Where kids nominate how responsible they're feeling today. You don't put them there, they put themselves there. And some of them put themselves down the non-responsible end, which is really fascinating. They actually say, the only reason I'm behaving appropriately is because I'm scared of the punishments. Now, this is where we're at. And teachers have done some clever things. Like, as I said to you, there's one. This is how responsible you're feeling. And these kids didn't feel very responsible, it seems. These are moderately so, and all these feel quite responsible today. So every morning as they walk in, these kids are obliged to think about how... Now, would you like that? I would find that exhausting. I don't think I even want to think about it, to tell you the truth, because most of the time I'm going to be down there. You know, I'm only doing it because I'm going to get into trouble if I don't. You know, if I see someone's got a lovely pen, why don't I take it? Oh, probably social approval. That'll be about here. The guy's bigger than I am. That means it's down here because I'm scared I'm going to get punished if I take it. So when you start to analyse why you do what looks like the right thing, sometimes it's embarrassing. And speeding is a great example. I mean, it's just an amazing example. How many people don't speed and encourage others not to speed because they're concerned about the social impact of speeding? There's got to be somebody in the room at least. They're actually concerned only solely at this point It's not the punishment, it's the fact that it's just wrong, because you could hurt other people and you could hurt your own family inadvertently. How many people make a conscious decision on that basis? Okay, not bad. But you know, they've got experiments where they've done this sort of thing and they find most people are operating out of a very, very low level. And there's books written by Crimes of Obedience and all sorts of stuff where people basically will do what they're told by any authority. So we're trying to make people only reference their behaviour to these two rights at the moment. That's all we're talking about. So this is one teacher's attempt. I thought this was very clever. I don't know what year it is, but they can't spell encouraging, whoever it is. So you have to say that's your own rating, and that's if for encouraging others. Do I know if this is accurate? No. I just know that the teacher's got them thinking about how often do they do these things, and how often do they encourage others to do them. And I thought, there's a cute idea, I'll show you. Just a photo. And that was work, and this one was another one. And what do you do with that? I've got no idea. But the concept of construction of your own thinking, you know, metacognition as we would call it, is a very interesting concept. It should have an impact on people's schemas, technically, if they're unhappy with them. So it was a cute idea. Now, what happened was I did this. I sort of sat myself on these ridiculously low chairs and talked to kids. And by the way, getting down is easy. And this is what I got. And I want you to see what I got, because I talked to a stack of kids. I was in 30 schools. It was phenomenal. I mean, it was such a pleasure. And it was fun too, you know. And you ask them, do you behave well? Now, some of them gave me theory off the bat. One of them I remember really well. His name was Sam, and I said, do you behave well? And he said, sometimes. And I said, oh, okay. So sometimes you don't? Sometimes. Oh, why is that? Oh, the teacher won't know my name. What do you mean? Oh, she goes, Sam, 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 Sam. And he gave me all this information, and he sits and smiles at me like this. He just quoted Adler. I mean, he just quoted a theory which says if you're scared of being invisible, you will turn to problem behaviour in order to gain recognition. He gave me a theory. Did he ever read Adler? I doubt that. And it was so interesting to see what they'd tell you. So most of them said this. The first time I said, why do you behave well? You get that. That's clear what you get. Some of them, when you even say, yeah, but what if there were no punishments? They look at you as if to say, how could you say that? You know, what can that possibly mean? It was really funny, and they just ignore that, and they say, oh, yeah, no, they'll punish you. And I'll say, no, imagine there are no punishes. No, you'll get in trouble. So they just couldn't get there. But when they could get there, then they went to the next one. They were actually spot on the theory. Then they went to that one. And so I was trying to say to people, yeah, but okay, that's what they do now, but let's imagine no punishments, no rewards, and no reports. Nothing. Now, under grade 3, they just couldn't understand what I was saying. Over grade 3, they could understand, but they didn't want to understand. They didn't want to think about it. It was just too difficult. And some of them did say, I'll be bad. I did. One said, I'll go and play in the prep's playground, you know, whatever that means. So I gather it's got currency. So, you know, and a girl in year 9 said, I'll run free. I wrote these. I wrote these down. They were so good. I'm going to write.